Okay, thank you all for waiting. I'll quickly review the agenda. We'll have previous minutes, student and school presentations, parent groups, open to the public, 3 minutes per speaker for no longer than 60 minutes. We'll have our superintendent's report, our correspondence and board comments, the personnel agenda, consent agenda. We will have a second executive tonight, and we will then adjourn the meeting. I want to note that there is a correction on the agenda. Item 12.07, which is to approve an agreement, has been removed from the agenda. Can I have a motion to accept previous minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes of the previous regular meeting held on Monday, November 10th, 2014.
Second.
Comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Do we have any students or school presentations tonight? Any parent groups?
Hi, good evening. How are you? My name is Tina Chan Sweeney. I'm a parent of a second grader at JV Force. So we're here to basically ask some questions about the arts program that we've been hearing a lot about lately. So I was just wondering if you can help us out, and can you speak to an email that recently surfaced about a retiring high school art teacher, and I guess there have been concerns about her replacement, and we were just curious to find out if this teacher will be replaced in 2015 to 2016 school year.
As you may have noticed, I know you've been to meetings in the not so long past. We now take questions and comments during that time, and then we answer them at the end of the public session. So any answers that we'll offer will be at that time. So if you have additional questions, you might want to give those to us now, and we'll take them down to answer later.
Sure. Hi, my name is Clarice Ellie. I'm a parent of a kindergarten student at South Avenue. Just sort of in general, in relation to what Tina just said, we've been hearing that just electives in general at the high school level have decreased over the years, and that kids are now in study hall in place of being in certain electives because, they might not be able to take an art class and band. They have to choose between one or the other, and then, they'll be in a study hall in place of one. So I was just wondering if there was a plan to address that.
I'm Flynn Larson, the mother of a kindergartner at South Avenue. I have another arts-related sort of query. Much attention in the district has gone to studying and speaking about the dropout level at the high school. Electives like art, music, and drama are not only critically important to a well-rounded education, but may keep students from dropping out. If we don't teach to the whole student, it should come as no surprise that many don't stick around. Students who don't excel in other areas like math and reading may be more apt to stay in school with the fine and applied arts if they're encouraged in those areas. So furthermore, as I'm sure you guys know, research shows that students involved in the arts tend to perform better on standardized tests. They're less likely to abuse drugs and alcohol and have fewer discipline problems. So given the strong artistic community that we have in Beacon, would it be possible to enlist volunteer artists from the community, parents in the schools, to supplement the art programs already in place somehow, to kind of make up for programs that have been cut and personnel that we've lost, or somehow find a way to collaborate with the creative community that we have here that we should try to tap into? So.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, we'll address that now because that is a parent group. We're not in the public session yet. So we'll address that. I don't know where the rumor started, but I can tell you it is just a rumor. And actually somebody emailed me today, a parent emailed me today, and I was able to explain to him, and I welcome anyone with such questions about teachers being cut or not replaced to contact the office, my office, our personnel office, our new assistant superintendent, Karen Kellogg, and we can set the record straight. There is no cut of a position. The person that is retiring taught half their courses, and she will finish her courses and retire, and we wish her well. And we have money in the budget to hire another person who will teach half-time courses in the second semester. And as a matter of fact, there was just a meeting with Dr. Sieverdeen and our K-12 contact coordinator to talk almost exactly about what you were talking about. I myself am an artist. I did a dual major. I have a BA in art. I've been a practicing artist. And art is one thing I'll try to hold on to. I can't make promises, way into the future, but the arts are an important part of educating the whole child, just like our sports program, our physical education program, our content teachers, all, I agree with you, we need to be educating the whole child. And there's a lot of research to support that. We do participate in the Arts and Education, COSER, and so on occasion we bring in artists into the school. They are not volunteer. Sometimes they're volunteer. Sometimes we pay a fee for them. And we certainly can work with volunteer artists if there are others who would like to work with the school. Under certain conditions, we have to do fingerprinting and all kinds of things, but that might be a possibility. We also, it was Dr. Sieverdeen's meeting. At that meeting, he reported to me that he was talking about different electives in art. We have a very standard art program, and they were brainstorming other kinds of arts programs. And when I say standard, I certainly don't want to imply that there is anything wrong with that. It is a fine basic education, and we have some very exciting pieces to our art program. And if you stop in the little room over there, it's called the Egg, you'll see some really fantastic projects over there. But bringing back some programs that in the past were popular that for whatever reason were cut, such as the fashion design, etc. So we're already talking about that. And just like I'd like to see a revitalizing of all of our arts programs and all of our content programs as well. I don't want to say one is better than the other. So thank you, but that's a rumor.
Madam Chair, could we make a note that the three parents that just spoke, they certainly are entitled to ask questions and get an answer, but they're not designated as a parent group. So I wonder why it is that we take the time now to respond to them when everybody else has to wait until tonight. I'd just like to make a note of that they are not a parent group as designated by the boards there. Okay? And that we spent the time now to do it while everybody else has to wait until the meeting is over to be responded to. Okay?
Thank you. Okay, open to the public. Who would like to speak?
Good afternoon, everybody, ladies and gentlemen. This is why I'm here tonight. This is for you, Dr. Barbara Rockwell. You're the superintendent of Beacon High School. I sent you a message regarding my daughter, Charlene Spence, and why she's not in school. Up until now, you haven't responded to my email. I sent Dr. Segal one. He still didn't respond to my email. I want to know why my daughter is not in school. It's coming up 30 days now since my daughter is out of school. And I haven't get no response, neither from you nor the school.
Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I was a student here at Beacon High School.
I'm sorry, could you please state your name for the minutes?
My name is Zanya Spence.
Thank you.
I was a student here at Beacon High School. I was treated unfairly. I wasn't given an equal opportunity like the rest of the students to finish high school. Dr. Sivik, an incident happened in school where I was on the soccer team. He told me to get my grades up. I did. He wouldn't let me play. I was in here, students would bother me. I would complain to him. He wouldn't do anything about it. He kept shrugging me off, both him and Mr. O'Neill. I got into a conflict with a student in the hallway. She told me she was going to bomb my house and have her brothers kill me. Instead of her being punished, I got kicked out of school. No education, nothing. And it's so ironic that that same student got kicked out of Beacon High as well. And I would like to know, what is the Board of Education doing about the education of young women and young men that are getting treated unfairly? Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Frank Bugg. I too am aware, or have been made aware, of this young lady's daughter's predicament here in the school, involved in a fight to which the police was called. The young lady was arrested. My understanding is, however, that the young lady had complained on previous occasions about being bullied. At the time of this incident, she was the only one that was suspended from school.
She wasn't suspended, by correction. She wasn't suspended. Dr. Siegel tell her to go home. And up until now, he haven't given me a suspension letter for her.
I guess the other point that I would like to make is that Dr. Siegel, obviously did not take into consideration when he sent this young lady home that she had previously complained in writing, as well as her mother, about being bullied. That the young lady who had been mentioned as being the bullier was not interviewed, questioned, suspended, or anything. That's one point. The second is, this young lady has now been out of the school system for almost 30 days without any documentation, without legal authority, and not allowed back in. The handbook for the students says that a student who is involved in a fight in the school is subject to a mandatory 3 to 5 day out of school suspension. This young lady has now been out she's been out 28 days and not being allowed to come back to this school. I would like to know, under what authority are you keeping this young lady out of the school and not providing them with any documentation or justification for her suspension? I'd like to get an answer to that question, if we could tonight. Good. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Joelle Held. I'm a student at JV Forrestal in first grade, and a sixth grader at Roosevelt Middle School who's doing very well, for the most part. I just want to comment on what you both said, because it does kind of influence my question. Out of school time is very damaging to a lot of kids, especially extended suspensions. But what I came to ask about is at the elementary school level, the district that we came from, we've been in Beacon City School District now for almost 3 years. We had a lot of enrichment programs that were after school that were led by parents and community members. And I haven't seen any of that kind of activity here, and I just wanted to know if that was something that's been looked to in the past, that was held at the school, or if there were some legal restrictions that prevented those kind of activities from happening. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Siobhan Lucas. I am a parent advocate of the NAACP. I am also the education chair for the NAACP, as well as a parent. I have 5 children who attend Beacon City School District. I also have the same issue as a parent, that no one, including you, Dr. Segrin, and Miss Dr. Walkley, no one responds to emails when they're concerned of bullying. Those of you who may not know, there is an anti-bullying law, which, you know, y'all can CC me back about the lawyer knowing about the DSA section 801, but on that anti-bullying, it does state if a parent puts in writing and we are making the proper authorities aware of bullying, they're supposed to be addressed. It says within 48 to 72 hours. My boys had an issue, and I did not get a response. My question as a parent, which makes me very angry, and I feel that, yes, as a minority, we do need equal opportunity. My boys never got, especially my oldest son, never got in trouble where they were picked up by the police. And I know that I want it to happen to anyone's child, whether it's mine or not. We really need to start having those sessions that we used to have, that Ms. Gatson used to have running the bullying, anti-bullying program. They need to be enforced. The principals need to enforce them. If you write this book and you're using tax money to make this big, thick book for student conduct codes and you're not following them, then yeah, you're going to make a lot of public people upset and angry, and they're going to voice their opinions. Now our children are being arrested. I would hate to see one of mine or someone else's being took down by a gun bullet, because that's what we're seeing now all over TV in New York City, and we're not far from New York City. We're like, what, 2 hours, maybe 45 minutes? So I can say as a representative of NAACP, if this does not stop, and my president, Barbara McCatskill, is here as well, it's going to be legal enforcement, because it's going on too much. It's not just my kids. It's other people in the school district. We need to be heard. If you want to have a public meeting or a private meeting, closed doors is fine. Nobody wants to answer written letters, but we're doing certified. So what more do we need to do to get your attention? Bullying has to stop. That is my address for the NAACP. Bullying has to stop. This district needs to enforce it. It has to stop. 28 days out of school is ridiculous. Where's the education? Where's the tax money going? That's my question.
My name is Vicki Fox, and I have a 6th grade daughter at Rombout. And I'm wondering if there are any plans for Beacon to develop some sort of online communication with parents so that we can see how our children are doing. A lot of school districts in the Hudson Valley already have this, and so I'm hoping that that is something that's going to be developed. I also am just, I don't know if you can address this, but I'm just kind of wondering why the headlines came out in the newspaper saying that Beacon teachers are ineffective. And that was a really big surprise to my husband and me because, we've been very happy with the teachers that our child has had, and we just don't know why that would be. So I was wondering if you could maybe shed some light on that. Thank you.
Good evening, school board. Good evening, Barbara Walkley, the superintendent, and the president. You have heard all the issues that we are silently being involved with the students not getting their due rights of attending class and everything. This can be resolved, but it has to be done through the principal and the superintendent in a timely manner. Yes, the complication with the young lady who's not in regular class is causing a lot of upset with the parent, the student, and also I'm sure a tutor is not going to tutor forever. So that case that the other parent was addressing, that can be resolved in a democratic way. And I think the principal should not be such a coward and come up with a solution that will be resolved in a timely fashion. Because yes, the young lady does need to be in her class and learning like all the other children. She's not unlearned. She's not a troublemaker, and she's not a type of person who would agitate and cause herself not to be able to go to school. And on that, I would like to have some sort of meeting with the principal or whatever, and I would like to do that very shortly this week, if it's possible. I will try to contact the school. Like I said, I'm Barbara McCaskill, and I am the president of the Southern Dutchess NAACP, and I would like to congratulate the students who performed Friday evening on stage doing a musical. They did an excellent job. I was able to see that Friday evening, and they had small kids as well as the high school kids to do a musical, and it was wonderful. Also, I know that this is the week you're going to close school, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Wednesday's the last day before Thanksgiving. Well, before I sit down, I would like to wish each and every one of you a happy Thanksgiving. Thank you.
How's it going? Pat Lucas, Beacon resident. Before I start, just want to make a note of the meeting minutes. Something was inadvertently left out that Mr. White had discussed at the comment session at the end of the last board meeting, where he said he wanted to discuss honoring Mr. Romanino and discuss it as an open forum and not behind closed doors, and that was not listed on your minutes. So I just wanted to point that out. Again, my name is Pat Lucas. I'm a 88 graduate of Beacon High School, a lifetime resident of Beacon. I'm here tonight on behalf of the Hall of Fame Board for the BHS. I'm not a member of the board, and I'm here as a taxpayer in support of the Hall of Fame Board asking to recognize Eric Romanino for an outstanding tenure as a teacher, coach, athletic director, and go-to guy to cover as an interim assistant principal or a principal when needed. The Hall of Fame Board was asking to name either the high school gymnasium or athletic wing in his honor. As I stand here before you, I'm perplexed by the thought that the Hall of Fame Board is asking you to grant this honor when this honor should have come directly from the school board itself. You have failed here in several ways. Not only have you failed Eric Romanino, but you have failed every teacher that will follow him here in the school district. You had a chance to show your teachers and administrators that the work is appreciated when they have dedicated their entire career to one school district for over 30 years. And while displaying pride in what they do and care for whom they work, I was coached by Eric Romanino while attending Beacon High School, and now as an adult, I thank him for his dedication to our children. Like him or not, you must admire him for what he has brought to this district and athletic world. The school district thrives with over 50 sports programs, largely due to Eric's love of his job and his kids. Eric's hard work is always displayed when BHS has their homecoming, their annual homecoming. I've attended several homecomings, including this year's event. If you pay close attention, there is one guy that you'll see running around like crazy, making sure everything goes smoothly. Perhaps one of the best moments of the homecoming is when the high school honors past alumni for athletic achievements. This is an event that was created by Eric Romanino. He doesn't get paid for it, nor do the volunteers of the Hall of Fame board. He does it because he has a passion for sports and his pride for past Beacon alumni achievements. When you walk down the athletic wing, you will see the plaque that litter the walls. They tell stories and history of what makes a great person, a great team, and a great school. This is attributed to one person who thought that it was important that the students who now walk this hallway know where hard work, dedication, commitment, and teamwork will get you. The hallway reeks of Eric Romanino. What better way to recognize a person who has gone above and beyond his duties to try to give the students of Beacon High School all he can. Ms. Walkley, the Hall of Fame board cannot find any other suitable suggestions other than the two already stated to honor Mr. Romanino for his outstanding tenure and dedication to not only current but past Beacon High School students. Ms. Walkley, Mrs. Thompson, and board, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was stated that the board does not want to set a precedent in naming things after people. I find this quite absurd. Being that you are new to the district, Ms. Walkley, I am not sure if you are aware of who James Vincent Forrestal is. In case you don't know, and perhaps some of the other board members don't know, James Vincent Forrestal was born here in Beacon in 1892. He was a Secretary of Navy and later became the first Secretary of Defense for the United States. Excuse me. This is who J.B. Forrestal School is named after. To continue on, the field house at Hammonds is named the Rosenmeyer Field House. The track is the O'Leary Track, and there is also the Greco Garden. Lastly, and most current, the P. Seeger Theater. The precedent has been set for years. To use that as an excuse is inexcusable. Although P. Seeger volunteered his time to the students of Beacon, I can assure you that it doesn't come close to the time that Mr. Romanino has volunteered to the students of Beacon above and beyond the scope of his position. The Hall of Fame board came to you and was trying to propose this without Mr. Romanino knowing. Unfortunately, your inaction caused the Hall of Fame board to go public with what should have been a bittersweet farewell to a person who deserves to be recognized by his actions and accomplishments. I will submit to you over 200 signed petitions in favor of naming the gymnasium or athletic wing after Eric Romanino. I've also attached a letter from Chrissy Tercy and the class of 1994. I also have attached a printout of Newburgh Free Academy Athletic Building that was recently named after a coach from NFA. The building was named after the coach who merely coached for 22 years. I have also attached Mr. Romanino's accolades, which span 34 years and include more than just coaching. The district has struggled to find leadership, and the long drawn-out process of trying to find leadership has turned to Mr. Romanino time and time again to help bail them out. I ask the board to show the teachers of our district that hard work, dedication will be noticed and rewarded. I can assure you that the board that sits in front of me will be long gone before someone even comes close to Mr. Romanino's accomplishments. Do the right thing and name the gymnasium or athletic wing after Eric Romanino. I only have one copy, so you can make copies and pass them.
You can give it to the board clerk, and she'll make copies and ensure that the board has them.
Okay, great, thank you.
Would anyone else like to speak?
This is the last time. Hello, Dr. Walkley and school board. I wanted to take a moment to thank you for responding to all of the parents who wrote emails and signed the petition to reinstate the overnight portion of the 5th grade Sharp trip. It means a lot to parents in the Beacon community that you responded so quickly and that you were open to dialogue. I'm not a fifth grade parent, so I will not be attending the meeting tomorrow night. My child is in kindergarten. I have 2 younger children who will also be at South Avenue in the next few years, and I've heard many great things about the overnight SHARP trip from students, parents, and teachers in Beacon, and I hope that one day all 3 of my children will be able to attend. I did not grow up in New York, so unfortunately I didn't have, the overnight SHARP experience or anything similar, but my husband did grow up in Middletown, New York, and at the time he attended a week-long trip to the Ashokan Reservoir when he was in 5th grade. I've known him for almost 20 years, and he has spoken of the trip many times since we've been together, and he wrote a little bit about his experience that I'd like to share. In elementary school, we did a week-long overnight trip to Ashokan. It was one of the best and most important experiences I had growing up. It helped me learn to be independent, to get along with other kids outside of just the classroom setting, and to treat all kinds of other parts of life outside the classroom, the outdoors, meals, travel, as fun shared experiences to be curious about. The whole experience, especially the extended time away from home and school, was life-changing. And that's the end of his story. Before staying home with my children, I was a teacher. I've worked with many 5th graders, and it makes sense to me that SHARP overnight would take place in 5th grade. 5th graders are in sort of an identity limbo where they're not quite kids anymore. They are independent and have begun to develop reasoning and thinking skills that take them beyond their immediate community into the outside world. But they're not quite teenagers either. They do not have the experience yet to use these skills independently. That's why a trip like SHARP is so important. It's the first time many of them will have been away from home overnight with their same age peers. Allowing students to stay overnight shows them that we trust them to make the important transition in a safe, supportive environment that teaches them to trust, communicate, listen to one another, and make the big leap from elementary to middle school. Middle school is quite a big leap, as you know. Lockers, walking the halls, changing classes, and everything else that goes into it socially and otherwise can be quite new and overwhelming. The SHARP trip will help kids to make that transition from identity limbo into, kind of an identity crisis, I guess, mode with ease. In an era where more and more demands are being placed on schools from the state, the budget is continuously being cut and liability concerns continue to increase. I really feel that it's even more important that we do not let experiences like this go. And I understand the whole trip wasn't being canceled, it was just the overnight portion, but it wasn't, it's not just, I guess, the overnight portion to a lot of people. That's kind of the whole point of it. The overnight SHARP trip is a Beacon tradition that is important to Beacon families and Beacon schools. As a board, you were elected to represent the Beacon community, and I believe the Beacon community has spoken, and I hope that you will listen. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak tonight? Thank you.
Excuse me. I forgot to ask my question because I was trying to cram so much stuff in. But I was just wondering if we'd be able to put this discussion on the agenda to see if it can be opened up to the public, to at least get an idea of if this can happen for Mr. Romanino.
For the next one.
Sorry, Christine?
Okay, so, yeah, we'll respond. All right, so, as always, I kind of jump around here, but I think that there are some things that I need to say, and I think that it's important that everybody understands that as a member of a school district, that we have laws around confidentiality of speaking about specific students in public, and therefore specifics about students we will not discuss because there are laws that govern our ability to do so. However, there are some things that I can say. I can say that the student mentioned is receiving educational services and has been in school for educational services. And I can say that I have responded to you, Mrs. Lucas, and I did respond to your letter.
You did not respond back to me, and I'm tired of you always saying that you have responded back to me. I did not receive a response. I have all my emails here that were answered. There's nothing from you, ma'am. There's nothing at all.
And excuse me, my daughter is not in school. She's in tutoring.
For 2 hours. And
2
I'm the one that
hours.
does the driving. I'm the cab driver.
And she can't even...
I'm sorry. We can't speak about individual students for their
Well,
own...
it's answering the questions, but
we
you gotta speak the facts if you're gonna do it.
If you go answer a question, this is what you gotta do. If Dr. Walkley go answer a question for me, this is what I want Dr. Walkley to do. Stop lying and answer truthfully. That's all I want from her, the truth. I left so many messages on Dr. Walkley's answering machine. I left her a secretary message, and Dr. Walkley, you did not respond to my email. You did not respond to none of my emails. I have all of them. All of them I have. You told, Dr. Seavergill told my daughter to go home without a letter, and she didn't get a suspension.
The period is over.
She did not get no suspension.
Okay, as I mentioned before, we cannot speak of individual students, but also the public session of speaking is over. Dr. Walkley is now answering all questions.
I don't want you to hear her answer, because it's a lie. I'm not going to sit down here and take the lies from Dr. Walkley and pretend like it's going to sweep under the mat like this. That's what been going. It's the same thing happened to him, and it sweep under the mat. He had to go to job 4. You guys not ashamed? You should be ashamed of yourself. We are human, and we all have kids. Would you want your kids to be in the position that my kid in? Handcuffed? Get into a fight outside and handcuffed?
The public session is over, okay? We're trying to conduct the rest of our business. Part of that is including answers. If you don't want to hear the answers, you don't have to stay here. No one's forcing you to stay here.
Truthfully.
Well, I'm sorry.
I'm a disabled mom. And guess what? I may be disabled, but my mouth is not twisted with a stroke.
This is not the time for you to talk right now. This is the time for us to respond, okay?
And if I hear, let me ask you a question.
I'm not answering questions.
You're not go answer. If you hear a lie, go tell on your tribe, on me, that I get a letter for my child to come back to school.
Ma'am,
are you going to sit and take
the public session is over. We're not going to respond to questions.
There's no faith in this board.
No.
Obviously, they find this amusing. Since you've been here, have you heard him say one thing? He's just been sitting in his chair, smiling, laughing. It's funny. They're not serious.
No.
They don't take us seriously.
Excuse me. We're trying to conduct our business here. Could you please be quiet?
And there's no need to be intelligently disrespectful. We will be quiet.
I'm not being disrespectful. I'm asking you to obey the rules of our meeting.
Why don't you call the cops like you did on the daughter? Huh? Why don't you call the cops and have...
You do not have the right to speak at any time you want.
You have a motion for executive session.
Yeah. All we want to hear is why, what authority you have